Good morning. Today is day 4 of my reading 7 books in 7 days challenge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have like 4 videos about it now. I have my TBR video, and then I have my days 1, 2, and 3 blog, which are all in the description box, probably, most likely. But this is day 4, and I'm actually starting this vlog a little bit late. It is almost 10 o'clock. I just finished my SAT prep and everything, and I have to make my bed. And I will probably eat breakfast like right after I film this, because I am hungry, but I didn't really have time to eat before my SAT prep, so I'm going to do that now. But I think today I'm going to read The Man in the Brown Suit by Agatha Christie. I'm really excited for it. I'm in a real Agatha Christie mood. Originally, in my TBR video, I said that I would either read The Man in the Brown Suit or Death on the Nile, but fun fact, I actually read Death on the Nile over the weekend when I was in Rhode Island. I read it on the beach in like a single day, and I really enjoyed it, but that obviously knocks out of the running for which book I will choose. So I will definitely be reading The Man in the Brown Suit today, and if I finish it early enough, I will probably try to read another book, which is what I did last year. Last year I read A Pocketful of Rye and 450 from Paddington, and today I really do want to get to The Man in the Brown Suit. It's honestly not as long as I had originally suspected. It's not even 300 pages, so I will probably be able to finish it quite early if I start it within the next hour. And it'll probably take me only around 2 sittings, and then I'm kind of free to pick another Agatha Christie book. I have quite a few. I have I think 12 books that I own from her, or actually 13, somewhere around there, that I own from her that I have not yet read, so I will try to pick one of those if I end up finishing The Man in the Brown Suit early. But I am in a good reading mood, because I don't really know why, but I feel like her books are easy to fly through. They're mysteries, so I can kind of just get through them pretty quickly, and from there, I guess, I will decide which other ones I maybe want to read. We shall see. But today, my mom has to do returns at the mall, and I'm coming with her, and we're gonna have lunch there, so I get to leave the house today, for a prolonged period of time, which should be fun, and yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm probably, as I said, first I have to make my bed, then I'm gonna eat a quick breakfast, and then get started on The Man in the Brown Suit, and then once I finish it, I'll decide what other book I want to read. I suspect I'll finish this by maybe even before we leave to go to lunch, because I don't know when we're going, but I would say at least 2 o'clock should be the time that I finish it. So, yeah, I just wanted to pop in, get this vlog started, and say good morning, and say that I will see you in a little bit once I have a reading update. Okay, I am back from lunch and going to the mall and everything. We actually went to another town near us, after lunch, and spent a little bit of time there. And I did buy a book. I bought The Hollow by Agatha Christie, just because I try to buy a new Agatha Christie book every time we go into a new town, and I've bought things from that bookstore before, but I just wanted to buy something else. But yeah, it is already after 3, so my goal of reading or finishing Man in the Brown Suit before 2 is kind of out the window. But I did, while we were in just walking around and stuff, I did get to page 68 of The Man in the Brown Suit, on my phone, reading the ebook on my phone from Scribd, and I am enjoying it so far. Basically, it's about this woman named Anne who comes to London looking for an adventure, and she ends up on the tube station seeing a man fall into the tracks, and then she sees another man who is presumably a doctor go to check on him, but then he yeets out of there and leaves an address, and she kind of takes it upon herself to investigate. And then another young woman who was a ballet dancer ends up is found strangled and dead. And so, yeah, it's kind of delving into that, and I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to finish this, and then read an entirely other book, because I just feel that will be very stressful. So I am just going to aim to finish this book today, and if I do miraculously have time to read a completely second book, then I will. But for now, I'm reading this and I'm enjoying it. I'm not the biggest fan of the narration style. It's very conversational, like Anne is almost like talking to the reader, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I do like when Agatha Christie has first-person perspective in her books, but I feel like sometimes she does it really well, like with Hastings, and sometimes she doesn't not so well, like with this book. I mean, it's not like unreadable or anything, like I'm still enjoying it, but it's just not my personal favorite style. But there is also another reason why I wanted to pop on here, and that is because at 12 p.m. Pacific time, which is, I live on the East Coast in New York, so it's 3 p.m. my time, Tahereh Mafi revealed the cover of Believe Me, which is the next, like the 5th novella in the Shatter Me series. It takes place after Imagine Me, and so she revealed the cover on Instagram, and I have not seen it yet, so I wanted to film my reaction to it, and I'm really, really excited. I do have a few predictions. I really want it to be red, because I wanted the cover of Imagine Me to be red, but it wasn't. So, I really want this new one to be red, and it's the only color, like, that I can think of that hasn't been on a Shatter Me cover already. So I'm excited to see what it is. So I'm gonna go to Instagram. Okay, so I'm opening up Instagram. Oh my god. Oh my god. I actually really, really like this cover. Oh my god. Okay, so the name, like the me and then Tahereh's name, is in pink, like a hot pink. And then there's like a sparkly sort of design around the eye, and it's almost like a pinky blue green pastel, and then the eye is green, but there's sparkles in it, and then there's the bird, and then the tagline is for better, for worse. Okay, what did she say? She said, absolutely thrilled to be able to share the cover for Believe Me, the 5th novella in the Shatter Me series. This story is told exclusively from Warner's POV and picks up just seconds after the end of the epilogue in Imagine Me. As I've mentioned before, this is not an ordinary novella. This story is significantly longer and a fully contained addition to the series. Believe Me will publish simultaneously in the US and the UK. It will hit shelves here in the US on November 16th, 2021. The pre-order link is up in my bio. Can't wait to share the book with you. Oh my god, I'm really excited. Okay, so it's not red. Again, there's never going to be a Shatter Me book that's red now, unless she decides to write a completely new book in the series. But the lashes are, like, just regular, I think. And I like it. It's cool. And I'm excited for it. So, yeah, I can't really talk about what it's about, because that would spoil Imagine Me. But I'm really, really excited for that novella. Except I really hope that the thing that is promised to be in the novella is written well, because I have a feeling that it could go either way. But yeah, I just wanted to pop in and give you my reading update and react to the cover of Believe Me. And I think now I will probably read, because I did get a lemonade at Starbucks, but I don't have it as proof. But anyway, I'm probably gonna go read now, and I will let you know once I've probably gotten to page like 200 of the book. Okay, so it is about 4:30, and I'm now on page 182 of The Man in the Brown Suit. And this is one of, I think this is was written very early in Christie's career. I think this was like the 3rd or 4th book she ever had published, and I believe that it is the earliest one written from her that I have ever read. And I do like it. I am still enjoying it. I'm sure I'll give it like a 3 or a 3.5 out of 5 stars. But there's just something about it that I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, I think it is intriguing. It's a good premise where there is like a man who gets electrocuted on a railway, and then there's a man in a brown suit. And I really love the idea of like a cryptic message being left behind. And the whole thing with the Russian ballet dancer is also intriguing. And I like how this book was like set on a boat, and they're going kind of like all around the world, and there's a character trying to follow the clues. But I'm just not the biggest fan of the main character, Anne. She is not really that well developed in my opinion. She kind of has like a few character traits, but that's really it. And I'm just personally not a fan of mystery books where the main character is not a detective. They're kind of someone that just falls into discovering who committed a murder, which I think is why I tend to like Agatha Christie's Poirot and Marple books over like her standalones, which tend to be from people who are not actually detectives. They're just people who, again, like happen upon a murder and then set out to figure it out. And Anne, I think, is just not my favorite character that Agatha Christie has written as like a point of view character. And I'm just not really a fan of the narration style. There is also some like interstitial chapters from the diary of this man, and I don't really understand the point of them. Like, they seem just kind of a little bit superfluous, in my opinion, and I'm sure that they will end up becoming something larger in the end, but at the point of the story where I'm at, there's just not a ton happening with them, and I don't really understand why they're included in this book. And this is one of those books from Christie where, like, it's a good premise and an interesting setup, but I don't think the execution is as well done as I personally like. And I feel like 415 Paddington is an interesting kind of comparison to this, because that, I think, is a really interesting concept, but I just personally didn't love the execution. I still enjoyed that book, but it was just not my favorite kind of... It wasn't really how I expected things to go down with that book, and I think this is similar to that. And also, there are some very dicey things about colonialism, because I actually didn't know that this book is, like, the characters are on a boat going to South Africa, and they are in South Africa at the point of the story that I'm at. I probably should have assumed, because Africa is literally on the cover, but I guess I just hadn't ever noticed. So I guess, yeah, this is Africa, and then there's Europe and a little bit of Asia over there. And then there's Madagascar over here, but, yeah, I didn't really know that. But there's some very dicey things about, like, colonialism, and there's some kind of blatant racism in this book. Also, something that I found very interesting is that this was written, I believe, in 1924? Yeah, I was right, 1924. And so they keep mentioning, like, people that were in the war, and I had to kind of remind myself, like, this book was written after World War I, but pre-World War II, and I was kind of like, oh my, yeah, like, Agatha Christie didn't know about, like, the Second World War, obviously, and it was kind of just referred to as the war, like the Great War, which is World War I, and I thought that was an interesting kind of historical fact, almost, and I think it's really interesting going back, reading books from, like, other centuries, and kind of seeing how they differ. And I do really like the, while I'm not a fan of, like, the narration style, I do really like Agatha Christie's prose in this book. I think they're very, like, quick to read, and kind of, like, sparkly, and just, like, I really like them, and I really like her descriptions in this book especially, because, I don't know why, I just really like them, and I feel like it's definitely very quick to get through, and I only have about 100 pages left. Again, I'm not going to stress myself out and, like, make myself finish this so that I can get to a whole other book, but especially since I was, like, out of the house for, like, most of the day today already, so I'm probably going to take a little bit of a break and maybe hang out with my cats or something, and then I will return to this and finish it probably a little bit later. I might finish it and then decide, like, oh, I have enough time to read an entire other book, but I kind of doubt that that will happen, but I guess we will just play it by ear. So clearly it is much later. It is probably like around 8:45, and I'm done with The Man in the Brown Suit by Agatha Christie. I think I'm going to give this book like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, maybe a 3.25. I did enjoy it, but it's just not my favorite Christie, and it's not like my favorite mode of Christie. I like when she does the more, like, quintessential mysteries. This was much more like an action-adventure novel with kind of a mystery in the background, and I'm not the biggest fan on how a lot of things in here were because of happenstance, but it is, like, one of the very early novels that she wrote, so I'm not gonna, like, really harp on it too much. I will say, though, that the colonialism in this book and the blatant racism was very distracting and I'm sure that it is, like, relevant to the time, but it was just a little bit, like, it kind of pulled me out of the story. And I never know, like, with Agatha Christie books, if, like, she actually believed some of the things, or if it's just what her characters believe, but, I mean, I guess we'll never know, so I can't really go off anything, but that was kind of distracting and a little bit disappointing. But, I do think that this is, like, a solid book. If you're a fan of more action-y adventure books, as opposed to, like, classic mysteries, I say this is a good one to pick up. I wouldn't say it's a bad Christie, it's just not it's not one of my favorites. And I do think that it was just, like, a little bit too complicated. Like, there were very minor things that happened that, like, end up being huge things. And I'm just, like, most of the time I like that, but I just don't think it was, like, particularly well executed for this book. Like, there will be, like, someone dropped something on, like, the second page of chapter 12, and then in the end, it's, like, a huge thing that, like, blows up and everything. Not, like, literally, metaphorically. And I just am not the biggest fan of that. But again, like, overall, this was fine. Like, it wasn't painful to read. It was a fun kind of, like, rompy adventure. And I did grow to like the characters a little bit more. My favorite character in this book actually was, like, not really in it. My favorite character was Suzanne, and she was, like, not really in it a ton. And I think I just expected something a little bit different from this book. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it wasn't really this, per se. But that is it for this video. I had a pretty good day today. I'm in a pretty good mood, and we're gonna go watch some TV now, and I'm excited for that. But again, that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. All my social media links are in the description box below, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5. Bye!